afternoon from Painesville and welcome to K News Summary. K News Summary is a 15-minute presentation of news about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of our one world. We take a short break. When we return, we'll bring you the full package of the summary. Welcome back to K News Summary. We take our first story here where the Joint Committee on Concession Compliance and Review at the 55th Legislature has disclosed that Hemagrade Liberia Limited has acknowledged its financial obligation to the government of Liberia. During the Tuesday, August 5, 2025 public hearing, the committee revealed that the company's chief executive officer and administrative finance manager, Mr. Bright Ritchie and Klaus Massaquoi, admitted to owing the government approximately US $2.4 million. However, the Liberia Revenue Authority has placed the company's total arrears for the government at an amount of US $3.4 million. The public hearing is part of the legislature broader mandate to review dormant and underperforming concession agreement to ensure compliance, transparency, and delivery of benefits to affected communities. The company acknowledgement marks a significant step in reconciling long-standing financial obligations, said Representative for the Family, chairman of the Joint Committee. Representative for the Family added that there is now mutual recognition of arrears, though the differing figures which gives the path toward resolution. The Bone County District 7 lawmaker added that the committee is optimistic that with continued engagement and enforcement, the matter will be concluded in the shortest possible time. The Civil Servant Association of Liberia has announced its support for the planned peaceful demonstration against illicit drugs in Monrovia on today, August 7. The association's president, Moiba Johnson, described the drugs abuse as a growing threat to national security and the well-being of future generations. Speaking at a press conference in Monrovia, Mr. Johnson urged all civil servants to dedicate their spare time to participate in the demonstration and show solidarity in the fight against this national menace. He further called on the government to increase budgetary support for the Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency, noting that drugs laws are well funded and pose a serious challenge to enforcement efforts. The youth wing of the opposition Alternative National Congress (ANC) has described as unfortunate the recent indictment, that incident in which a woman gave birth in the yard of the John F. Kennedy Memorial Center. Speaking at a press conference, ANC Secretary General Aliyu Kedi said the situation is deeply troubling and unacceptable in a country that is part of the 21st century. He noted that the incident has sparked outrage among women across the country and called on JFK to immediately reverse what he referred to as a deadly policy. According to Katie, pregnancy is a medical emergency and no woman should be turned away from receiving care simply because she cannot afford the required delivery fees. His comment followed a controversial memo recently issued by the John F. Kennedy Memorial Hospital announcing an increase in the cost of delivery service, a move the ANC youth wing strongly opposes. At the same time, the Secretary General slammed Daniel Sando of the Ministry of Information and Information Minister Jeremy McMatthew Pierre for, in his words, ignoring the real problem affecting the ordinary Liberian and focusing instead on political propaganda. The executive director of the Consumers' Rights Movement, Isaac Ross, is urging all Liberians to join the nationwide Say No to Drugs march scheduled for today, August 7, and avoid politicizing the event. Ross stressed that tackling the scourge of drugs abuse requires collective action from all citizens, not mere criticisms from the Southlands. He said that while everyone has the right to participate in the march, it is equally important for people to understand the purpose of the demonstration. According to him, confronting drug abuse in Liberia means more than speaking out. It also involves bringing forward children, relatives, or community members struggling with substance abuse to highlight the dangers and consequences of such a lifestyle. Ross further called on citizens to work alongside the government in establishing a regulatory framework to curb drugs consumption, while acknowledging that completely eradicating drugs may not be possible. He emphasized that decisive action can significantly reduce their prevalence in the country. The Liberia Agriculture Commodity Regulatory Authority has ended a one-day deliberation aimed at validating the prices of cocoa and coffee on the local and international market. Speaking during the opening ceremony, local Director General Dan Sayer said the decision is aligned with the arrest agenda of President Joseph Boakai. According to Sayer, farmers and exporters so that the farmers will be able to live like middle-class business persons and benefit from the basic social services. The LACA Director General stressed the need to stabilize the prices of cocoa and coffee so they can benefit like partners in the world African region. Liberia is hosting the West Africa Logistics Conference, which focuses on strengthening regional security and improving military logistics across the West African states. The conference aims to enhance defense practices, foster collaboration, boost health readiness through innovation, and strengthen solidarity among regional militaries. Speaking at the opening of the conference, Defense Minister Geraldine George emphasized the importance of partnership, preparedness, and shared expertise among ECOWAS member states and African partners. Minister George highlighted logistics as the backbone of effective military operation in addressing transitional threats and humanitarian crises. The Defense Board thanked African partners for their ongoing support in training resources and technical assistance, which have significantly contributed to regional security. She called on delegates to work together with unity, innovation, and mutual respect to ensure a stable and secure West Africa. For his part, U.S. Strategy Affairs Joseph Sajosny described the ongoing logistics conference in Liberia as a pivotal movement in advancing security cooperation and strengthening logistics network across Africa. Speaking on behalf of AFRICOM, Sajosny emphasized that the conference marks a major milestone as the U.S. Africa Command prepares to transition from a regionally focused logistic approach to a continent-wide initiative by 2026. He highlighted the theater's logistics readiness program as a key element of the transition, noting that the conference serves as a feedback loop to improve the program and build stronger partnership. Sajosny also stressed the importance of building African logistic leadership, fostering a professional logistic cadre, and advancing AFRICOM 31 concept assessment, advise, advocate, and integrate. He also welcomed private sector participation, underscoring the value of integrating U.S. industry into future initiatives. The House of Representatives has formally requested President Joseph Imam Boakai to place a temporary halt on key function of the Liberia Traffic Management Incorporated. The House, in a communication dated August 4, 2025 to the executive signed by Chief Clerk Major Sion, urged President Boakai to suspend the vehicle registration, driver's lesson, and lesson plate issuance in the concession agreement with the Liberia Traffic Management. The request follows a report from the House's Joint Committee on Transport and Investment and Concession, which highlighted the need for a thorough investigation and transparency in concession agreement. This action came after another protest hit the grounds of the Capitol building on Monday, August 4, by aggrieved commercial drivers and employees of the Transport Ministry. The aggrieved commercial drivers and employees accused the Liberia Traffic Management Company of harassment and exploitation in vehicles registration and driver's license issuance processes. Receiving the petition on behalf of the House of Representatives, the co-chair on claims and petition, Representative Jacob Deby of District 3, Grand County, disclosed the House decision of communicating the plight of the aggrieved protesters to the executive. He assured the aggrieved protesters that the House of Representatives will do all in its legislative authorities to ensure the concession agreement is revisited. The National Executive Committee of the Marriage Federation of Motorcycle and Tricycle Union of Liberia has rendered a vote of no confidence against its President General John F. Keyon. From to inform all government institutions, international partners, NGOs, private entities, and from to constituents and other relevant stakeholders that a formal vote of no confidence has been passed against Mr. John A.F. Keyon. The vote of no confidence effectively relieves Keyon of his position as President General. The vote of no confidence cast by 7 of the 9 members of the National Executive Committee accused John Keyon of conflict of interest, unilateral decision-making, lack of transparency, and misinterprets representation of the institution in engagement with public and private entities, among others. The Impromptu National Executive Committee announced the decision on Tuesday, August 5, 2025 at the Union headquarters on the A.B. Tupper Road in Painesville City. Reading the press statement, Impromptu Vice President for Trade, Commerce and Investment, Tonato G. Goffey, noted that the decision follows extensive deliberation by the National Executive Committee based on a well-documented instances of negligence on the part of John Keyon in the discharge of duties. The operational continuity, the NEC has announced that it will establish a transitional leadership mechanism with an emergency meeting to be convened within 14 days for the election of a new interim President General. Fontu called on all stakeholders to cease all engagement with John Keyon in any capacity purporting to represent the institution. The group emphasized that any such dealing are unauthorized and done shortly at their own risk. Well, on that note, we draw down the curtain on today's edition of K News Summary. It's been a joint effort here from our News and Current Affairs Department at Cool 91.9. For and on behalf of the entire news team, my name is Benjamin Gabriel Kera.